Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew. Oh, my camera's a bit skew-if. There you go. Hello. There you go. welcome to the show. Let me just put that there. I'm sure if you see the second hand of my new clock, it's going to annoy you. So I'm just going to kind of put this here like this. There you go. Maybe I should have set that up before I started the show. Maybe that would have been a good idea, Graham. Actually, I'll move it across a little bit. There you go. Oh, go on. You can see the clock. There you go. I hope that's not too annoying. I got a clock because I'm going for the Guinness World Record Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday morning for the longest solo stream, live stream. So I need to have a clock. I need to have a clock apparently, and a TV. It's going to be a TV over this shoulder on Monday. So you can see that I'm actually going out live and I'm not faking it. Okay, so where are we? We've got goal here. Goal! We have a goal. And we've got chat, top chats. What else? Oh, Diz is in there. Hello, Diz, straight in there saying morning all. Hello, Diz. We've got Sarah Davis saying morning, everyone. Estate agent let the cat out of the bag yesterday as to why landlords overlooking me. It's because I'm on benefits. And when you apply online, the options for disabled people are the same as unemployed. That's disgraceful, Sarah. And under the new renters' rights bill, they're not allowed to do that. Can you check with the CAB? Check with the Citizen Advice Bureau, because you might be able to get some recourse for this. You know, I'm not being funny, but they're not allowed to do that anymore. It's against the law to discriminate against people who are on benefits. Since the beginning of this month. Good morning, everyone, says Leapshin, and how are you doing today? I'm feeling pretty meh, as usual. I'm sorry that you're feeling meh, Leapshin. I'll try my best to cheer you the fuck up. But if you'd like to join Leapshin in the chat and cheer them up, or Martin, or Diz, or Tommy Lee Cadden, or Billy Kershaw, or Snow Bomber, hello. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button, wait for approximately 60 of your Earth seconds, and you should be able to join in with the chat. And apparently, if you join the channel, if you actually join it and become a member, you can spam the shit out the chat. So not only can you be in the chat, you can please don't spam the chat. Please, just don't do it. Today we're going to be talking about Brexit. Yay! Fuck, I just saw my audience figures just go off the fucking roof. Off a cliff. Sorry. Hello. I've got to talk a little bit about Brexit. A little bit about Brexit. Paul Thomas, what do people think the UK should do if Russia uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine? First of all, I think British people should be shocked that they've got nuclear weapons that actually fucking work, because that's going to be a miracle. But if they were to do that, then there's no other option than a full, absolute, and complete bombing campaign against all of the Russian front lines until every single last Russian has either ran back into Russia, or Russian mercenary actually has ran back into Russia, or they'll be dead. Right, so they can run back into Russia, or they can be dead. That's it. Just get all of the NATO planes that are up for it, not the Americans, obviously, because they're part of Russia now. They're the 47th Oblast or the 46th Oblast. Anyway, so and that's it for Russia in northern Georgia and in South Ossetia and Abkhazia. That's it for Russia in Dagestan. That's it for Russia in Chechnya. Also in Crimea, also in the Donbass region at all, and also in Kaliningrad. They can get to fuck, because we're having that back. Give it to, I don't know, fucking Prussia. So let's have a new country called Prussia, which stands for proper Russia. It could be like Taiwan, couldn't it? Because you've got this huge country, right, to one side, and then you've got this little bit that's a little bit separated, and that's where that could be called Prussia, proper Russia, not Belarus, which is white Russia. No, this is proper Russia, and we can, like, whenever they get like the people of Kaliningrad get the seat in the UN, and Russia loses its seat in the UN. That's what should happen if it uses nuclear weapons. But yeah, are you not warm with that fit on, Graham? Well, on my new, it's gone up a degree. on my new clock here, you can actually see the temperature. That's the temperature. And yes, it's 15 degrees. I live in Durham. It's the coldest place in the world. Like, I was wearing a winter coat until yesterday. I managed to take my winter coat off and I unzipped my top, like just unzipped it. It's like, it's open now. That's how warm it is now here in Durham. Yeah. It's a terrible place, Simba, where the sun never shines. Where the sun burns cold and the winds blow colder. If anyone can tell me what movie trailer that was from, I'll give you the money myself. Speaking to a lot of locals, and they're all preferring refuck, says Liam. Yeah, I mean, refuck have got the advertising budget, haven't they? Paid for by the fossil fuel companies and the crypto bros. Saw a little post today. Andrea Jenkins at the refuck party. She's the mayor. She's the mayor for Lincolnshire, which people are now telling me is in the north. It's not. It's the Midlands. It's nowhere near the north. It's not Lincolnshire. You've got to get up to like Sheffield, Liverpool sort of level, line of latitude. Then you can say you're the north. That's fine. That Manchester, Leeds, York, Carlisle, Durham, obviously, Newcastle, Sunderland, Gateshead, going up to Northumberland. That's the north of England. We have the Midlands, all right? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, but Graham, you can't say that. No, you've had no prime ministers from the north of England. What about Lincolnshire? I'm like, it's not the north of England. What about Scotland? It's not the north of England. Do you want me to buy you a map? It's not the... Anyway, Mordor, says Band of Hard Japs. Yeah. 21 degrees here, says Diz. Ooh, fancy. I should also explain that we live in a Victorian terrace that is absolutely fucking freezing. I think it was made to be freezing. I think this was once a shop here along the terraced row, and I think that they basically built it in order to keep the food fresh. They built it like a big refrigerator. Yeah. But there you go. It's supposed to be a maximum of 23 degrees in shiny chef. Well, do you know what? The sun is out here, so it might, you're seeing the temperature rising. It's gone up from 14 to 16, so that could be exciting for you. Do you know what? This clock as well, it'd be really easy to jog through when you're trying to find somewhere. Do you remember when he said that thing about 20 past 9 that I wanted to clip and call him a dickhead? Actually, Scotland is the coldest place. I'm sitting chittering in 12-degree conditions, so suck them apples. Yes, okay. I'll let you have that. Durham's the coldest place in England. Scotland's even colder. Up in the Highlands as well. 27 degrees forecast, says Diz. Wow, that's going to be hot. I like the new clock, Graham. Thank you. That's a requirement of the Guinness World Records people. I'm going to go for this record because every second counts. I've got to get over 45 hours and 45 minutes, I think. Do you know what? They're not being great getting back to me, so I don't know if this record attempt that I'm going to attempt is even going to apply, even if I do just pass out at the 36-hour mark. I don't know. We will see. But I'll give it I'm willing to give it a red hot go. I'm getting a new chair today as well. I'll go to IKEA after this show. I'm going to get myself a new chair because this chair's shit, crap, and falling apart. It's like proper, like the back here just. It's not supposed to do that. I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to do that. So yeah, I'm going to a nice little cheap IKEA chair to sit in for a day or two. I'm also we've got a little running machine thing in the other room, one of those running things, what they call the treadometer or something, I don't know. And I'm gonna bring that up and put that in this room. So when I'm doing my show, I can continue talking while I'm walking. I'm not gonna run, don't worry, bounce around. But yeah, I'll be doing that to just get a little bit of exercise because obviously sitting down in the same place for 48 hours is not. It's not the best of use of a human body. Graham is clocking us. Hey, thanks, Sarah. I like the new clock. Scotland, the warehouses in Liverpool were designed to be cold for storage. Now converted into apartments, and residents wonder why they're hard to heat. Yeah, treadmill. That's it. I think that's the one. The one where you walk. You got like a conveyor belt, and you walk on the. Like in the supermarket where you put your food on, but you walk on it instead. It's amazing. Anyway. Having spent my childhood in Lincolnshire, if you ever get a PM from there, we're in serious trouble. Well, you did, didn't you? Because Thatcher was from Lincolnshire, wasn't she? She was from Grantham. That's in Lincolnshire, isn't it? Is my geography gone all over the place here? The lady is not returning. The noise below, says Martin Harrow. And listen, we're going to talk today about Labour's sort of Brexit dilemma. So this is based on a story in The Guardian today. UK pitched single market for goods with EU in pursuit of deeper trade ties. Top officials presented idea in Brussels, but sources say the EU rebuffed it because this is a game of two halves. Yeah. Case proved, says Miss Paula Thomas. John says it's 21 in the shade here, nearly hot enough to switch to Fahrenheit. I like that, John. Yeah, we always do. When it gets hot, we switch to Fahrenheit. When it's cold, we don't. No one ever says, it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit today. Oh, it's very chilly. They'll say, oh, it's 0. it's 0 degrees. Oh my God, it's freezing. It's freezing. But then when it gets hot, people don't go, oh, it's 28 degrees today. No, they go, it's 82 Fahrenheit. I need my blood pressure checking after that numpty on Witchy Goth's channel yesterday. Oh no, I'm sorry. There was a gut numpty. Did you did Witchy Goth get a fucking troll? I'm sorry. That really sucks for her. Laugh my arse off, Sarah. 15 degrees in Auckland Central. Quiet Saturday night. Look at this. This is me in this room, right? With I suppose I've got my computer on. And I've got these two lights, but they're only LED lights. They don't really get warm. But I've already managed to raise the temperature in this room by a couple of degrees just by sitting here. Isn't that mad? That's mad, that is. The power of human warmth. Okay, so being in and out, being half in, half out of the EU is doomed to failure. Are you ready? That's my conclusion. I mean, that's the start. That's the start of what I'm going to say. Your conclusion may be different, but Labour are trying to do the impossible. They're trying to rebuild the economic benefits of EU membership while refusing to engage in the political structures that make those benefits possible. That's the whole problem. You cannot have meaningful single market access for goods without obeying the rules. You can't have rules without enforcement. You can't have enforcement without institutions, and you can't have institutions without obligations. Do you see? That's the thing. You can't have obligations while telling voters that nothing has changed. This is why half in, half out keeps failing. It failed for Theresa May, it failed for the Tories, and now it will fail for Starmer. Not because closer EU ties are wrong, they're obviously completely right and necessary as far as I'm concerned, but because the government is still frightened of stating the bleeding obvious that Britain's natural place is in the heart of Europe. And if you don't agree with that, then I don't know. I need to take it to one side and explain to you just how bad Brexit has been for this country and how horrific it's been for British citizens living around the EU and also EU citizens living here who have had their families ripped apart by this madness that doesn't give us a single tangible benefit. There is not one tangible benefit from us leaving the EU. No one can ever name one. No one can ever name a law that they're happy that they don't have to abide by anymore, vis-a-vis being part of the EU. And what's happened since we've left the EU? Britain is more isolated, Britain is poorer, you know all this. But also, the knock-on effects that we don't even talk about, the fact that energy bills have gone through the fucking roof, well, part of that is because we're not part of Europe anymore. There's shit in our rivers, okay? Massive loads of shit in our rivers. Now, we're first to complain and say, listen, this is the fault of the privatisation of the water companies. Yes, you are right, up to a point. But then you've got to look at the fact that they've found it more difficult to get the chemicals they need to treat the sewage in the sewage plants, and that's why there's so much more overspill, ever more than there was. You're not dreaming that there is more shit in our rivers now that we've left the EU. There absolutely is. Do you think that the water companies up until 2016 were fucking wonderful? Up until January the 31st, 2020, they were really looking after the place. No, they weren't. They were not investing in infrastructure. They were not investing in new reservoirs and new pipelines. They were not doing that, right? They were taking money away for their shareholders, right? You are absolutely right. What changed after 2020? They couldn't get the chemicals as easily. They had to pay more for the chemicals and they were harder to get to treat shit. Hardly anyone ever mentions this, but it's there. I'm not saying it's the whole reason why there's so much shit in our rivers, but have a look at how much shit has gone into our rivers in the last 6 years. It's gone up. It's gone up massively. Of course it's gone up massively. There's other knock-on effects as well that we don't, we're not talking about enough. The fact that it costs more to make even nuclear power because we left Euratom. The fact that it's getting nuclear, what they call radioactive materials into the country for medical processes is more difficult as well. And the cost of getting things on your prescription or getting medicine has gone up as well, which has led to medicine shortages. Now there are medicine shortages all over Europe, in fact all over the world at the moment, but Britain's worse. And when you've got a dear friend who's suffering from cystic fibrosis and can't get their medicine that they need to keep them alive, and you have to drive up to Northumberland to find the one Boots in the whole country that has that particular medication and then send it through the post, a month later. So, she doesn't die. That is not optimal. It's really not optimal. And I know we talk probably a little bit too much, and I probably do this, about the economic impact, about the 4% to 8% knock to the GDP, blah, 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 right? No one gives a fuck about that. Let's be realistic. No one gives a fuck. You start talking, I think more people are upset about the fact that Nigel Farage had this statutory fine for like 10 grand than, or that, what's her name? Angela Rayner didn't pay 30 grand of stamp duty when she was meant to. They get more upset about that than they do about Starbucks avoiding paying millions, or in fact probably billions worth of tax over the years, because $1 billion is an abstract number. It doesn't mean anything to anyone. It really doesn't. People, it's an intangible number. I know it's probably not the right definition to use because there probably is some mathematical thing called an intangible number, but for most people, non-mathematicians, a number that big is just unfathomable. You just can't imagine it. You just can't imagine that many of anything, and as hard as we try. And when we have the what is it, that famous line from attributed to Stalin, which says that one death is a tragedy, 1 million is a statistic. I would say that one death is tangible, 1 million is intangible. That's probably a better way of putting it, because it's not our fault. It's just the way our brains are wired, and yeah, it's not great. I wish it wasn't so, but it is the fucking, it's just the way we are, right? It's why as well, when they have adverts for charities in newspapers, they have an appeal for a newspaper, and they show a stat like 3 million children die every year of diarrhea, right? Which is one of the most easily treatable conditions on the planet. You need a sugar salt solution, electrolyte solution. It can save a child's life. Just putting that stat up, people just turn over the next page of the newspaper. They don't look at it. But if you show a picture of a child, and one child, right? Not a group of children, or a village full of people, with happy faces because they're not dead. But you show one child and you say, this is Jim, or, this is Kimberly, or this is whoever, right? And then you humanize that child and explain that child's plight. It hits humans so much harder than a stat. Because once you start talking about thousands, millions, billions, trillions, those numbers just become unfeasible, intangible for most human minds. And I'm not saying this is because people are stupid. It's just the way our brains are wired. Our brains are wired for counting fucking berries and counting how many lions there are coming to attack us on the bloody prairies. Do you know what I mean? On the plains. It's not. We're not designed. We haven't evolved to deal with these really, really big numbers. Got a frame man. Despite everything, I'm feeling pretty positive. I'm making a nice, simple breakfast that will make me happy. That's something rolling will never have. Yeah. And you being happy, Gallifreyan man, in any way, shape, or form, is something that Rowling will never have, because she's never happy. She will never be happy. She is not a happy person. She is a hateful bigot who sits there all day getting angrier and angrier about the fact that trans people exist. I mean, how dare they? Anyway, I've got to take a quick selfie. Just 1 second. Okay. I don't know if that's I don't know if that paused the whole video then when I pressed that. I don't know. There you go. Okay, send that. Okay, yeah. Where were we? A million years is a blink in geological history, roughly the time it takes for a stack of 250 sheets of paper to equal 1 inch in height, while a billion years is a massive 1,000 times higher. Yeah. Graham, are you using a laptop or a PC? As I've noticed the temperature gauge creeping up. The most likely heat source is a computer. I get the same temperature rise with my computer setup. Yeah, but the thing is, right, that's quite far away from my computer, and I'm touching it. I'm touching because it's in quite a big box, right? There's no heat coming out. I can't feel any heat. It's not like it's warm. In fact, the metal of the computer is kind of at the back. Oh, hang on. Yeah, at the back it's a bit warmer. Yeah, I guess where the power goes in. But yeah, there you go. If you want to warm your house, turn your computer on. Probably costs an absolute fucking fortune in Lucky. Where are we? To be honest, fuck is dead without the frog-faced twat. Yes, Daylight M. He can't quit. He's the chief executive. What's that? Word on the street is that Farage might be stepping down as leader as he can't handle the scrutiny he's been getting recently. Oh, don't threaten me with a good time, Tommy. Shropshire Chris says, hello, I'm late. Wasn't ready for Saturday, Graham. Well, I mean, I was barely ready. I put the time on for 8:10. Sorry, 9:10. God, I'm getting ahead of myself here. 8:10 Greenwich Mean Time. That's what I meant. Anyway, so look, go back to the EU and the contradiction at the heart of what I'm loosely calling Starmerism. It's not really. Is there a Starmerism? There wasn't really a majorism. Was there a Brownism? I don't know. There's certain politicians and prime ministers come and go without an ism. I suppose there is a Johnsonism, which is to feather your own nest, steal as much money as possible, snort cocaine out of a prostitute's bum crack or whatever they did during lockdown. But that's I don't think that's a solid foundation of political science. When Tommy Lee said Farage might be quitting, did anyone else get celebration by cooling the gang as an earworm? I did. I certainly didn't get fuck sticks by cunting the gang. That's a completely different song. Starmerism. Oh, sorry. Gallifreyan man was going to say something then, but it disappeared. Good morning, Shropshire. Is that a new movie? Good morning, Shropshire. But yeah, the contradiction at the heart of your Starmerism is that Starmer keeps saying that Britain will not rejoin the EU, right? In his lifetime, apparently. And he says that we're not going to rejoin the single market in his lifetime, or the customs union in his lifetime. But his government is now repeatedly asking Brussels for something that looks very much like access to the single market, and it's telling Leave voters, oh, don't worry, your Brexit is safe. He's trying to tell businesses, I will reduce trade barriers. He's trying to tell young people, don't worry, we'll restore mobility. And he's trying to tell Brussels, don't worry, we're serious partners who are serious in everything that we say. And each audience, each of those 4 cohorts is being told something slightly different. And eventually those contradictions collide and create this tangled Gordian knot that we're having to deal with now in our relationship with the EU. You can't say that Brexit has failed in private and then Brexit must be respected in public, and then expect the EU to, provide you with a bespoke escape hatch for all your stupid red lines are the ones that you've created. Now, look, I want to just say, right, at this point, I understand, as I've already mentioned before, but I understand why Burnham doesn't want to talk about Brexit. And we'll get back to that later. But there's no reason why Keir Starmer can't be talking about it. In fact, it would make him more popular if he did, as we saw with West Streeting last week. Then again, maybe right now isn't the best time to talk about it because of obviously this leadership contest that's going on. By-election that's going on. It's not a leadership contest yet. We are going to be singing that song all day. If Farage, if he's not leader of Refuck anymore, Refuck, shrivel and die. That's it. It's the same with Trump and MAGA. Same with Saddam Hussein and the Ba'ath Party. Same with Hitler and the Nazi Party. These are strongmen politics twats who just want to destroy the bloody planet. And as soon as they're gone, there's no one waiting in the wings. There's no Raul Castro to take over from his brother. There's no, Maduro waiting in the wings to take over from oh shit, what was his name? The guy, Fidel. Oh, what's his name? Oh god, that's going to annoy me now. What's the name of the guy who was before Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela? In Caracas. Oh shit, what was his fucking name? Twat, bollocks. Stop swearing, Graham. If someone wants to tell me the name of the Hugo Chavez. What? I said it. Look, it didn't come up. Didn't come up in the chat. Hugo Chavez. There's no Maduro waiting in the wings to replace the Hugo Chavez in this particular case. Can we all manifest the downfall of fartage with Cool and the gang? Yay, Tommy. Tommy's in there with Hugo Chavez. But sorry, my brain managed to get it before then. Although, if that had been a question on fastest finger first type quiz, I wouldn't have got that. Do you know what? I was doing a quiz yesterday. Well, I wasn't. I was watching someone else do a quiz. And it was there to identify the country. And it was a silhouette on a map, right? Of the country. And the first one was Canada. And I went, USA. Oh, to Canada. And I'm like, oh my God, if that had been me on the show that they were on, and the first one, I got it. I was like, Jesus. Embarrassment. I get Bhutan. That's fine. I know where Bhutan is. But I just went, because it was like North America. And then I think maybe it's because I wasn't used to the quiz by then. Because it was like, okay, what is this? My brain's trying to work out. Okay, so that's, but yeah, I got it. First one. Got the rest right. I know where Lau is. Make it his walk on his song in all TikTok videos of him attending his rallies. What? I think for most refuckers, I think their theme tune should be Cunt and the Gangs. Use my A as a C. I think that's what they should use. Anyway, look, I want to make something clear as well at this point, right? So we've just read this news story in The Guardian about the EU saying, no, like some deranged unionist from Northern Ireland. But the EU's not being awkward. It's just defending its own system. And this is where Labour need to be honest, because the EU's not rejecting these overtures by Britain because it hates Britain or it wants to punish Britain. That's a fantasy, for dickheads, The EU is rejecting cherry picking because the single market only works if everyone inside it plays by the same rules. We're saying, well, we don't want to be part of your football tournament anymore. Okay, all right. Oh, we want to be still part of your football tournaments. Oh, okay. But we don't want to be a full part of it. Okay, we just want to turn up and score some goals. Okay. We just want to have some money from the sponsorship deals that you've negotiated. Oh, okay. What are you going to give us in return? Absolutely fuck all. Brexit's a fantasy as well. Brexit is such a fantasy. The idea that Britain could keep the nice bits and dump the responsibilities of being part of the EU. No free movement, no customs union, no single market, no EU budget contributions, no European court influence, no common rule book unless it suits us. And, we used to be in with a load of opt-outs. The idea that we're going to be out with a load of opt-ins is it's a fantasy fucking world. that frictionless trade is not based on vibes. It's a legal, regulatory, and political structure. God, did anyone see that clip last night of Ian Dale? Ian Dale talking about these new regulations, these new guidelines that are coming in for trans people. Did you see it? And there was one person. There was like 3 people shouting at it to shut up. But there was one person basically saying, this is so wrong. There is no evidence at all about trans people being a threat to people in single space in single sex spaces or anything. And then Ian Dale chips in, a gay man, and says, "Oh, there is evidence. There is evidence. Just wear it. Show it to me. This shouldn't be based on vibes." And she was exactly right. The person defending trans rights. And Ian Dale just looked like such a twat. And it's one of those things where you're watching it and you're thinking, oh God, if I was there, what I would have said is, hey Ian, you stupid twat, listen to me now. What they're saying about trans people, that's what I heard about gay people in the 80s. Don't go into the toilets. A gay man in there will bum you and give you AIDS. That's what they said in the 80s. Said little kids. And they're saying the same thing about trans people now. Watch out, if there's a trans person in the toilet, they might attack you. Because that's just what they do. And it was called out. But yeah, the woman who was defending trans rights said quite clearly, and Nadia Whittome also brought this up in Parliament yesterday, by the way. She made a good speech. I think was it yesterday or must have been Thursday, because I don't think there's many MPs around on a Friday in Parliament. But she made this what I felt was a very strong point about how this got to be based on data. It can't just be based on vibes. But this whole thing about policing what trans people are allowed to do in public life is completely and utterly based on vibes. Aid is calling me Bindiana Jones. Bindiana Jones? I don't really get that. If we go on the bin podcast, it can be Bindiana Jones. Turn up with my hat. We're talking about the EU. It can't give Britain a better deal outside the club than members get inside the club. If they did, every Eurosceptic party in Europe would be like, well, Britain gets the benefits without the obligations. Why are we paying in? Why are we following the rules? And that's why the EU keeps offering the obvious choices of a customs union, and the EEA style alignment, deeper institutional cooperation. And that's not because Brussels lacks imagination for bespoke opt-ins for Britain. It's just because those actual structures exist, and it would be easier for everyone and faster and less time consuming to just use those actual structures that actually fucking well exist. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. More accurately, it's like trying to play a football game and choosing that say the offside rule doesn't apply to your side. Yeah. And wanting the sponsorship money without actually fucking paying in. Jamie, as a trans woman, some of the worst transphobes I've ever met have been gay men. Yeah, I mean, again, like that is a weird thing, isn't it? You wouldn't expect that, but also lesbians. There's lesbians who are very, very anti-trans, and obviously it's a minority, but like, God, they're fucking venomous. And you're like, what are you doing? Especially if you're a butch lesbian. What are you doing? You're just making your life harder for yourself. It's infuriating, absolutely infuriating. At the front of the LGBT movement have always been trans women and trans men as well. Since the very start, I think that there's been a lot of money spent on cleaving the UK off from the EU, a lot of money spent cleaving the T off from LGBT. A lot of money spent. Anyway, thanks, Miss Paula Thomas, for the super chat. It's very kind of you. Chequers is kind of back from the dead. Do you remember the Chequers plan back in 2018? Was it under Theresa May? It was an attempt to create a common rule book for goods while avoiding full single market membership, customs union membership, and free movement. Do you remember this? It was destroyed by the right because they said it would make Britain the rule taker. And the uncomfortable truth is, well, they're right. I mean, they're partly right, Not maybe morally or politically, but definitely technically, yeah, we will be a rule taker. If Britain wants access to the EU market for goods, Britain has to follow EU rules on goods. But do you know what? Like, so what? If we want to sell stuff to China, we have to follow Chinese rules for what they allow to be sold in China. We can't just go over there and force them to take our fucking opium off our hands like we used to down the barrel of a fucking cannon. We don't have to do that anymore. Well, we can't do that anymore. But yeah, whenever we have a trade deal with someone, obviously we've got to obey their laws. We can't just say, oh, we've got a trade deal with Australia. Oh, fantastic. Are we going to sell them some uranium? Yeah, we'll just sell them some fucking uranium, fucking laced beef or something. I don't know. Would you like some uranium in that beef? They'll have rules. If you're going to import beef, it's got to have no uranium in it. Oh, are we a rule taker now, are we? Some other country making up arbitrary rules? No, it's just that if you want to sell stuff to Australia, you've got to, irradiate your fucking beef. Does irradiate mean take the radiation out or put the radiation in? I don't know. It's the whole pulling the ladder up behind them mentality. They see what's happening to trans people and they want to be on the winning side. But yeah, Jamie Alice, the sad thing is with that mentality is they come after the gay people next. They come after the lesbians next. They'll get grouped together. We've been here before. And if you don't keep fighting for your rights and for the rights of everybody, you start losing them. And then it's a fucking, all falls down like a house of cards. Or like a set of dominoes. Anyway, back to the EU, right? If Britain wants to access the EU market for goods, it has to follow the EU rules. And we used to help write those rules, but we decided that we didn't want to write them anymore. So there's your choice. Outside the EU, Britain either follows the rules from the outside or accepts barriers to trade. That's the choice. The tragedy of Brexit is that we did move from becoming a rule maker to a rule taker, while pretending this was all about sovereignty. In fact, it was about giving up sovereignty. It was about giving up control. Don't forget as well, we never really did this, but here's something that a lot of Brexiteers never talk about. We had a right to deport EU citizens who had come to Britain and weren't working. We had a right to deport them back to their home nation within the EU. We never used this. Other countries did. Austria used it quite a lot. The Netherlands used it all the fucking time. Belgium used it. If people were coming over from another country in Europe and staying here, not working and not adding to the money pot of the nation, we could legally deport them without a lengthy legal process, because there was no argument about whether they would be tortured or put to death if they went back to their EU country. That didn't happen. We could legally put them on a plane, on an EasyJet flight for 21 quid and take them back to Greece, or take them back to Romania or Spain or Italy or Malta or Cyprus or to fucking Romania, Poland, France, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Croatia, Slovenia, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, or Czechia as it's now known, Hungary. We could send them. Portugal. We could just send them. We could just send them back. No court case. No asylum hotel. Nothing. Just put them on a plane. We used to be able to do that. We took our right to do that away from ourselves. We took our right to do that away from ourselves under the guise of sovereignty. No one mentions that. Hardly ever gets brought up. I thought that it was 4,691 irradiated haggises. Booyakasha! Thank you very much to One Angry Pagan for the Red Dwarf reference there, I think, wasn't it? Is that Red Dwarf? I'm pretty sure it's Red Dwarf. Graham's clock is 5 minutes behind. Is it? We don't have a 5-minute time lag. I'm seeing 9:49 too. Are you? I'm seeing 9:49 on my phone. My literal phone says 9:49 at the top of it. Let's see if it turns. Oh yeah, it's gone to 9:50 now. Look at that. It's almost on time. There should be a delay of about 17 seconds going out. You can tell me what the delay is, but I should be 10 minutes behind. That's really fucked up. I don't know. my internet, my phone. It's all gone horribly wrong. 15-second gap here. There you go. Daylight 15 seconds. So maybe I should put the clock forward 15 seconds and then it'll be right for you. Won't be right for me, but it'll be all right for me. Yeah, there is a bit of delay. Why is there a delay, Graham? Why don't you put it on ultra low latency? Well, because if I put it on ultra low latency, can't get subtitles, you see. So I want to make this accessible as possible. So you have to wait 15 seconds for my words to come out of my face at you. 17 minutes. 17 minutes? What? What is going on here? I put a clock on the... I do like this, actually. So I'm getting a new chair today, and I'm getting a new... See this sideboard here? I'm getting a new one, which is going to come to the height of those books. And then I'm going to have my travel books, all of my Lonely Planets, all of my 50 copies of Lonely Planets all along there. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I've got it all planned out. My plants and my lamp there and my clock. And then on this side, I'm going to just have something probably on the floor with like a box or something. And I'll put the telly on it just over there by the couch, and you'll be able to see the live telly. It will be delayed by 15 seconds, clearly, when I'm doing my world record attempt. And by the way, I want to make it very clear that it is going to be an attempt, right? There's a very, very good chance. I don't know how I'm going to perform. It might take a few attempts before I actually do it. I'll be very lucky if I do it on my first attempt, but I'm gonna give it a red hot go. Ooh. The dog will definitely be happy. Good luck for later, though, says Kitty. Kitty's got a dog. That's ironic. We've got Shropshire, Chris. We don't have clocks in Shropshire. I will consult the sundial. Don't forget to add an hour on because we are on BST. BST, my friend. My apologies. I was 5 minutes behind on the stream. Well, there you go. To the time machine. I'm going clothes shopping myself. I need more summer clothes and a nice pair of sunglasses. It's like when performance anxiety says, it's like when someone says, "Oh, I can't hear you, Graham," and I'm like, "Oh shit, I've got something on mute," because there's like a few different ways of muting my mic on this, and I've got to make sure that the mic is not muted. I don't have a monitor coming into my ear, so I can't tell whether that my sound is going out, except by looking at the screen and seeing there's a little bouncy, what are they called, the sound bounce thing, the little lines that go up and down to tell me that there's, and it's got to be in color, and also I've got to have my the microphone on, but like it then turns out that the person who said, "Oh, you can't hear you, Graham, I can't hear you," and I'm like panicking. They're like, "Oh no, I just didn't have the sound on." Oh, sorry, I'm muting me tab. Anyway, so where were we? We're talking about the EU, and the fact that the choices here is, we're outside the EU, so the choice is we either follow the rules of the EU from the outside or we accept barriers. That's the choice, And Labour's trying to rebuild access to the EU without admitting the consequence of us leaving the EU is that we get no say over these rules. And we used to. But there's a certain irony here, isn't there? Because we don't get a say in American law. We don't get a say in Australian law or South African or New Zealand law or the law in Japan or in Canada. So if we have a trade deal with Japan or with Singapore, we don't get any say over what their government is doing. We come to a mutually agreed, mutually beneficial trade deal, which is how things work. Now, if you think about it for a moment, obviously the EU is going to get a better trade deal with any given entity on the planet. The EU, Mercosur or the US or the crystalline entity from Star Trek, they'll get a better deal because there's just more people, there's more money. They're worth $20 trillion, whereas we're worth about $3 trillion or 4, I think, something like that now. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for being a member for 36 months. Whoa, that has flown. Thank you, mate. You are awesome. Welcome. You are awesome. Welcome. This is for One Angry Pagan. You are awesome. The Trolling Witches chat last night was allowed on because Witchy wanted to toy with it. Lol. It started okay, but the more it said, the more I got annoyed. There's one thing that'll get me. It's climate change denial. Well, it's a Venn diagram of a circle, isn't it? A Venn of climate change deniers, homophobes, transphobes, dickheads, people who didn't pay attention in school, Thought they left school at 14 with no qualifications and thought, that's it, that's all I need to know in life. I don't have to, like, I don't know, read anything ever again. I don't have to find anything else. I know everything. Oh, wow. Kat's just texted me from her. She's been doing the old park run this morning, and she's taken a minute off her personal best. Wow. Sorry, I'm just sending little notes of encouragement to my beloved. There you go. 1 minute off a personal best. That means that she's come first in her age category by a fucking mile, which is cool. Anyway, back to sitting here and not doing exercise. But yeah, it is the Venn diagram is a circle, isn't it? Of like bigots, Brexit voters, refuck voters, the people who deny climate change, the people who, I don't know, just deny reality. Can we call them reality deniers? You know, cloud cuckoo land. Woohoo! Oh, right, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. Okay, you're going to vote for the cloud cuckoo land party. Great, cool. I'm sure they're going to sort everything out for us. Do you know what we need to do to make the prices of oil come down? We need to drill in the North Sea. We are drilling in the North Sea. Yeah, but we need to get new drill things in the North Sea. Okay, draw me a picture. Draw me a picture of your oil platform on the North Sea. And draw me a picture of the little tube going down, a little metal straw, suck out your brains, or in this case, oil out the ground, and show me how that all works, okay? And tell me how long it's going to be, how much it's going to cost to build, how long it's going to take to build, and then explain to me in no uncertain terms how that is going to fucking work to get our prices down of our oil now, because that thing that you've just done a sketch of is going to take 10 years to build. 10 years. And then how much oil is there? 1%. Of, you know, so enough to last 14 days. No difference. A drop in the ocean. Billy, is that at Sedgefield, the park one? No, it's in Durham. Durham. £1.50. Louisiana is losing same as one football field of wetlands every 100 minutes to the sea. It's because they put oil ahead of the majority black population living there. Climate change is real. Yeah. Well, and Florida as well. Florida's just got to go completely underwater. It's just not going to be there. You know, that the cock hanging off the side of America. It's not going to be there anymore. Because and one of the reasons why is because they knocked down all the bloody they cut down all the mangroves. You know, that whole area was just covered in mangroves, and mangroves build up land. They're like if you ever played like Populist or something, you could use volcanic basalt or something. You could make land, and you could put. Do you remember that? I don't know. That's a random thing to talk about, but yeah, you could use volcanoes to make more land in Populist. Well, it's the same sort of thing with mangroves. You put a load of mangroves in an area, and eventually they will make an island. So there's a really good. It's happening in real time off the north end of Bocas Town in Bocas del Toro in Panama. There was an island, and it used to have like a little footy pitch on it and stuff, just off the north side of the main town there, and it went underwater. I think in like 2011, maybe 2011, it went underwater, right? And the whole thing was swamped, and that was it. It was underwater. I got a wonderful picture of three of my friends standing at low tide on this, and it looks like they're standing on water. It looks amazing. It's this amazing photo. It's like Jesus standing on water, but in bikinis. Anyway, that area now, you look out, and there are mangrove trees growing. There are mango trees growing there, which is remarkable. But it's because they can exist in the salt water, whereas the grass and the trees that used to be there just died straight away, because obviously once you're submerged in salt water, you're not coming back from that. And eventually those mangroves, if left alone, will grow and mature and start dropping leaves, lots and lots of leaves. So the soil, the original soil that my island is 99% mangrove leaves, because that's what happened over centuries, over millennia. And sorry about the noise in the other room. It appears our youngest is making a smoothie or doing some DIY, one of the two. I hope never get too mature to giggle at mangrove. I'm not getting me mangrove out. When I'm a pagan, can't promise anything, but we'll try to remember. Yes, I think Bangladesh has a program of mangrove planting. Yeah, because not only do their leaves go down, but they also hold the soil together. So another problem is erosion. You know, we have coastal erosion here in the UK, and we have programs to protect the sand dunes, right? Because sand dunes are so important to stopping the water from coming in and, you know, inundating Formby with salt water. And one of the big things that they need is to allow pampas grass, or, you know, the grass that, you know, that really sort of sharp grass that grows, you know, the really kind of it's you know, it's really like light brown grass. Do you know the type of, I mean, that helps, the roots system of that helps hold the sand and the sand dune together. And without it, the sand dune will shift and fall apart and collapse, which is what you see quite often in the Sahara Desert. You know, when you talk about the shifting sands, if you set up a time-lapse camera in the Sahara Desert, you'll actually see the sand dunes move. They move over time. It takes a long time, like, but they do move. So yeah, the roots are really important too. And also, mangroves are, they're just the most remarkable trees there are, really, because I know all trees are remarkable, but these in particular, except maybe hawthorns, they can fuck off. But the mangroves, they are a fantastic nursery for little fish, because big predators obviously can't get in there between the roots, because they can't wiggle around the roots because they're too big. And they also filter the water. So they clean the water. They literally clean the water. And also, they take carbon dioxide from the air, as, you know, part of the sort of photosynthesis process, and they lock it down in the roots under the water. So mangroves act as carbon sinks. If you leave them to it, just leave, because other trees, right, you go, oh, well, it takes in a lot of carbon. It does when it's growing. When it's growing, and especially like things like fir and stuff like that, they're quite good when they're growing into young trees. But once they mature, they don't take in as much CO2. They don't lock in as much CO2 once they're mature. But mangroves continue to, apparently. I could go on about mangroves all morning if you want, but I was supposed to be talking about the EU. Bloody. There you go. Marram grass. That's what I wanted to say. Witchy wisdom. Thank you, witchy wisdom. We've got coconut trees also prefer salty water, make sweeter fruits. Yeah. But you know what? £1.50. I've found that the trees, the coconut trees on my island, there's a level of salinity that they're prepared to take, and the coconut trees, the coconut palms that are down at the far end of the island near the bodega, they're growing fantastic, and there's a few trees that produce loads and loads of coconuts. But the ones that are closer to the windward side of the island that was getting flooded all the time, they've either died or they produce like 2 coconuts, which is a bit embarrassing. Unless you're like a cartoon coconut tree on. They always have 2 coconuts, don't they? But most coconuts actually have lots and lots of coconuts. Most coconut trees have lots of coconuts. Whilst we need to worry about climate change, I have a bigger concern: man, bear, pig. Oh yeah, got to watch out for that man, bear, pig. I thought Setrol was being very brave or stupid, saying you and which he didn't know anything about paganism. Oh my god, is that what they said? Jesus Christ. Then again, I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Like I say, they know a lot about very little. But they're I suppose if you're going out there to troll, you're you know, you've got a certain level of arrogance, a certain level of like, oh, look at me, aren't I the big I am, I guess. But yeah, talking of being childish and learning everything you need to know at the age of 5 and then never learning anything else, the Brexit version of sovereignty was always really immature. It was really childish. It was a kid throwing a tantrum. It was sovereign. It said that sovereignty meant never having to compromise, which is a nonsense, because that's not what life is like. That isn't not a valid like a valid expression, or what could I say? it's not a valid sort of understanding. I'll say it's not a valid understanding of power dynamics. You know, there is no such thing as complete and utter sovereignty. There never could be, because you can't make enough food to feed yourself. You cannot make a sewage treatment system that will sort you for the rest of your life. You didn't, pop out your mum and then, so you were like, okay, that's it. I'm a sovereign individual now. I don't need someone to hand me milk. I don't need someone to look after me and make sure I don't run out into the road. And do you know what? While I'm at it, I'm gonna build a road and a sewage system, an electricity system, and I'm gonna build buildings and facilities, and I'm gonna train these people to come teach us so they can teach me about the world. I'll pay their wages out of my own pocket, as a toddler. I mean, like that idea is just so childish, it's like going, I'm not going to do anything my parents tell me to. Okay, well, if they tell you to not jump off a cliff, are you going to jump off a fucking cliff? If they tell you not to run into the fucking traffic, are you going to run into if they tell you not to do a fucking cartwheel across the M6, are you going to go and do a cartwheel across the M6? Then I'll show them. No. All our lives, we understand in every aspect of our lives, whether it's work, whether it's relationships, there's some give and take. And to fold your arms and go, no, I'm not going to give anything at all. I'm just going to take. That's not sovereignty. That is not sovereignty. What sovereignty is being able to shape our own environments. It's being able to influence our neighbours and protect our industries and have our citizens work and travel and study and build their lives across the continent in which we live. That's sovereignty. Businesses trading without unnecessary barriers. That's sovereignty. You're having your country sit at the table where decisions are affecting what it can trade with its biggest customer. That is sovereignty. By definition, Brexit reduced our sovereignty massively. It gave us more paperwork, fewer rights, weaker influence, less control over the forces shaping our economy. It gave us more flags. Yay. Great news for the Chinese flag makers. Good news for the polyester industry. But this is the argument that Labour should be making. Not that we want to undo the past, but that we need to rebuild Britain's power, prosperity, influence, and that means moving back to Europe. And the argument about youth mobility exposes the dishonesty that we're seeing from Labour when it comes to relations with the EU. And I know things are warming up, and I don't want to fuck that up, okay? And I do believe that if Burnham gets in, we're looking at probably he's going to have Ed Miliband as his chancellor. So the Green Revolution, which Ed is very, very on top of, hopefully that will actually kick into top gear, because talking about another facet of sovereignty, sovereignty is also being able to produce your own electricity, your own power, and set the price for the power. We don't set the price for our power in this country. Is that the craziest thing you ever heard? Britain does not set the price for its own electricity. Do you know who does set the price? Putin. Riyadh. Dubai. Mohammed bin Salman. Or, the bloody Sheikh Khalifa in Abu Dhabi. America. Trump. He tells us how much our energy bill is going to be. We get very little say in it. How is that sovereignty? So I'm quite positive. I don't want to sit here going, oh, it's all fucking doom and gloom, because I don't think it is. Because every step forward that we are going to make from now on is going to be a step closer to the EU, because it has to be. It's a moral imperative, but also it's an economic imperative. It's if we want our economy to grow, we need to get closer relations with our biggest trading partner, the place that buys the most shit off us. If we want to sell shit to the world, we need customers. Most of our customers are in Europe. The vast majority of our customers for our shit are in Europe. America represents 22% of our trade, right? That's the biggest one-off country, but Europe represents like 50% of it, more than 50%. Sovereignty, patriotism, the buzzwords used by those who want to steal our resources and fuck us up. Yeah, they're quite nebulous terms, really, because sovereignty doesn't really exist. It never has done. You know, we've always been at the whim of the situation in the world. You know, we went in a position in World War II to say, oh, we're not going to take part in this fucking war. You know, if we were completely sovereign, we could have done that, but we saw the threat that the Nazis posed to us. That's not sovereignty. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That's very kind of you. Brexit was one of the clearest examples of denying reality. To be Anglic is to be European. Anglic is to be European. The basic reality was made to look fiction. Yes. I mean, we're called Anglo-Saxons in England. Angloland. That's what England is short for. Angleland. As in the Angles and the Saxons, which last I checked came from northern Germany and what's now Denmark. Cool. And Chris is there with some news about the 90 people who have been killed in a gas explosion in a coal mine in China. Absolutely fucking awful, awful news. I don't want to, you know, disparage the fact that people have died to make a cheap point, right? So don't take it that way. But I will make this point right now that no one died because of the wind turbines today. Anywhere in the world. No one was killed by a wind turbine. People get killed digging coal out the ground every fucking day. And it's disgraceful and it's horrible. And I can't believe that we push humans into this situation where they have to dig for coal. You know, where they have to put their lives on the line for an energy source that is destroying the planet. Can we stop doing this? It's fucking madness. Those 90 people did not have to die. Those 90 families don't have to be grieving today because they've lost the father of the family. Yeah, so we'll go back to talk about the youth mobility scheme. I wanted to bring this up because Starmer says he wants a more ambitious scheme, but the EU wants something meaningful. Labour wants caps and limits and restrictions because it's terrified of anything that sounds like free movement. So young people are being offered a watered-down version of rights that they used to have automatically. Rights that we took away from young people. Rights that I had as a young person and used to the max. Like, I travelled the fuck around Europe, not giving a shit about how long I spent in each country. My then partner at the time could travel, even though she was Australian, because she had the British visa, she could travel around Europe, no problem whatsoever. No questions. I could work in Europe. I could go to Europe and work for a week doing presenting for, you know, in Barcelona or in Cyprus or in Slovenia or wherever I was getting a job. I didn't have to get a work permit to work there. I could do that. I maxed the shit out of that motherfucker. And that's been taken away. This entire generation of kids. There's kids now who are 27 years old. 27. They didn't get a vote. They didn't get a vote in the Brexit fraud referendum. It was taken away from them. The rights that I enjoyed. Rights going backwards. That's what Brexit is all about. It's what the transphobia that we see all the time is all about. Rights going backwards. You know, this wasn't a handout. This wasn't a handout, okay? This was a right that was stolen from us by these gruesome old bastards who were told what to do by the oil companies from the other side of the fucking planet, by the Russians. Labour's trying to sell a smaller, more restricted, bureaucratic replacement and as progress. And yeah, it's better than nothing, but it's not enough. I don't know, pretending it is insults the generation that had its European future ripped away from it. And the half in, half out thing gives something for everyone to hate, you know? It doesn't satisfy Brexiters because it looks like betrayal. It does not satisfy business because it looks too limited. It does not satisfy the EU because it's too complicated. It does not satisfy young people because it only restores a fragment of what they've lost or had taken from them, what the rights they've had ripped from them. It does not satisfy voters because no one can explain it honestly. And that's why the bespoke Brexit arrangement keep collapsing. They're too technical to inspire people, too weak to solve the basic underlying problem, and too vulnerable to attack from bad faith politicians. And God, we're swimming in bad faith politicians at the moment. Bad faith populists. Oi! Did not read my Hawthorne memo, says Andrew Ray. What? I did not read. I did not read my. I don't know. I didn't know what you're talking about. Sorry, Andrew Ray. Hawthorne memo. Did you send me that on Facebook? I don't know. I'm not very good at reading. as evidenced by trying to read things out from here and get it wrong. Sorry. Listen. Hey, listen. We've had 4 super chats and it's not come up on the totalizer. It's still saying 0. I don't know why it's still saying 0. Super chat goal not working, says Diz. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So listen, one more super chat. Make it a good one, and we will have confetti. We will have confetti, and Diz will be happy for the rest of the day. So if you want to make Diz happy, if you want to send Diz skipping through the streets, then please drop another super chat in. Exactly, Kitty. Piper Alpha and Deepwater Horizon are perfect examples. Yeah, exacting oil is dangerous and it kills. Yeah. The stories I got told. So I've got friends in Bocas who are dive masters who do, teach diving and stuff. And they are mates who worked on, they worked on oil platforms because it was such good money because it's danger pay. You got paid a fuckload of money for going down there because there's a good chance you wouldn't come back up. And they had stories about young men going down under the sea and dying, just fucking dying in loads of fucking really fucking horrific ways. And that's an everyday occurrence. So oil platforms all over the world. Look at what oil's done to the Niger Delta. The poor people of Port Harcourt in Nigeria have been absolutely fucked over by the fact that their watercourses are just filled with filthy, toxic oil. And the fish are all fucking dead because they can't get oxygen. They're covered in fucking toxic black slime. Miss Paula Thomas, £2 super chat. SC Gold not being updated. Yes, but we don't need where we're going. We don't need SC goals. What we can do is we can press this button here that I've written confetti on. See, that says confetti. And I can press that. And confetti comes out. Yeah. So cool. I love that. I've got my confetti button and I'm not afraid to use it. Thank you, everyone, for chipping in for the confetti. If you want Boba Fetty, another 5 super chats, and I will drop in a Boba Fetty. We will have a Boba Fetty. Saz is the first one of that, so we get another 4. We'll have a Boba Fetty before we go. I'm going to wrap up probably at around maybe 1:30 or something. We'll see. Like I say, I've got to go and get a chair. Yay, confetti, says Tiz. Woo! Put me on an oil rig and I'll be going down and gagging. Want me in the men's toilets? Yeah, you can have a lot of fun on an oil rig. Anyway, so where was I? I was talking about bad-faced populists. Let's talk about fucking Farage for a moment. Sorry to mention him, but he will call any alignment with the EU surrender, and all the fucking tabloids will back him up. You know, all the fucking gutter press like the Telegraph and stuff, they'll all back him up. And Labour might end up doing like a sensible thing, but but if they don't make a case for it, that's a big problem, and that's what they're trying to, that they've got to do. So overall, I think that although I feel quite positively that we're having more meetings with the EU. The Tories set it up so it was every 5 years. But Labour set it up so it's every 1 year we have a summit with the EU, right? To talk about trade, talk about, breaking down the barriers to trade and things like that. Badger time. Stop. Badger time. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Badger time. Thank you very much to One Angry Pagan. Maybe I should get like a badger time. I get the badger. Which is now put into the National Archive, isn't it? Is it the National Internet Archive or something? It's been badger's been put in. But yes, absolutely, my friend. The government can have these negotiations with Europe on one hand, which is great. Okay, yeah, good, right? But in order to win this, right, in order to get us back in the EU in the next 10 years, which is my plan, the government needs to steer public opinion, not hide from it, not react to it, but lead it, steer it. This is the most important political point about all this. Leadership is not just following focus groups and following, what they, telling people what they think they want to hear. Leadership is not just, triangulating around what Nigel fucking Farage might say. Leadership means taking the public somewhere. It means telling a story. This leads back to what I was talking about earlier in the week about Labour's inability to tell a story. The British people were lied to about Brexit. They were told it will make them richer. It didn't. It demonstrably made us all poorer unless we're a multimillionaire. They were told that it would reduce migration. It did not. They were told that it would free the NHS, 350 million more pounds for the NHS. It did not. It did not get down waiting times. We were told that the German car makers would come and save us. I was actually on a TV show back during the Brexit wars, and there was some dickhead Brexiter. I think it was the one who dressed up as a Knights Crusader outside of Parliament. Had a sword or something, saying he was going to defend Brexit with his dickhead. And he talked about the German car makers, and I just ridiculed him. I wish I could dig out this footage actually of me doing this. I just laughed at him. I just was like, what the fuck are you what are you talking about? I didn't swear, obviously it was on the telly. But I said, oh God, this is sovereignty, is it? Oh, the German car makers will come and save us. Oh yeah. Is that sovereignty? Oh yeah, we'll wait for the people, wait for Gandalf to come over the hill, on his white horse. It's all good. Absolute bloody nonsense. Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That is incredibly kind of you. 2 more, and we'll have a Boba Fetty. I've been told by a friend of mine who went to see the new Mandalorian movie that it's a bit mid. It's a bit mid. It's a bit like an elongated episode, season 4. But he did watch it 3 times, to be fair, but he's a huge Star Wars fan. So, but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go and see it at the cinema. I think I'll just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, to be honest with you. But yeah. Anyway, we were told that the German car makers would save us, and they did not. We were told that we held all the cards. I don't know if anyone ever saw the picture of me at the Brexit, one of the anti-Brexit rallies in what's it called? In London. Hang on, we hold all the cards. Anti-Brexit march, London. I don't know, what was that? 2019 was it? I don't know. The best signs and sights on the People's Vote march. Oh, there we go. There's mine. Save image as. Oh, it's an AVIF. Does that work? Can I show AVIFs on here? No, I can't. Motherfucker. Hang on a sec. Oh no, I just save image as. No, it's trying to save it as an AVIF. Anyway, right. I'll show you. I'm just wondering how I can do this. Oh, I tell you how I can do this. I can. If we go to the papers, right? This should work. Right, go to the papers. Papers, please. Thank you. And then I press that. There you go. That's mine. That was mine. That's right. There's a wonderful picture of me with Lord Adonis, and I'm holding this sign. We hold all the cards. It's massive. That was mine. That was me. And then we went to the pub afterwards, right? And I was holding my sign, and I was a bit concerned that someone might come and take it from me at St. Stephen's Tavern. And I said to my mates, "Can you keep an eye on this while I go for a piss?" And they went, "All right." So I went for a piss, but there was a big queue for the men's toilet, so I was a bit of a while. And I came back, right? And I came back, and because there was such a queue for the men's toilets, that someone had put my sign in the corner in the courtyard of St. Stephen's Tavern, and a guy was pissing against it. And I was like, oh, man, I was going to take it home with me. Could have had it in the background here, Just we hold all the cards. Anyway, this is what we were told. We were told that we hold all the cards, which is obviously a fucking lie. We were told that the German car makers would come and save us. The job of a serious government is not tiptoeing around that lie. The job is to patiently, clearly, repeatedly tell the truth. Not in a smug way, not by calling the voters stupid. That's my job. They're politicians. They've got to be better than that. They've got to be better than me. Be better than me. Not pretending that the referendum can be simply erased, but by saying, we tried this, it's not worked. Britain is weaker outside Europe. We need a new direction. And being pro-EU doesn't mean ignoring domestic problems. And this is where I think Andy Burnham's got a really good point when he says, we're not talking about our relationship with other countries. We're talking about the domestic focus. And obviously for people in Makerfield, Plattbridge, Hindley, Sunderland, Barnsley, Hartlepool, Stoke, Grimsby, Blackpool, need investment, jobs, housing, security, transport, industry, dignity. Politics cannot just be a constitutional argument forever. But there's a catch here. You cannot rebuild Britain properly by pretending Brexit is irrelevant to Britain's decline. So I understand why when asked about Brexit, when asked about a relationship with the EU, Andy Burnham's line is, we're not talking about that now. We need to talk about these places and how we're going to bring them back from the brink. But Brexit, and Brexit isn't the only reason why Britain is struggling. My hope is that Andy Burnham wins this by-election, right? And then once he's in power, he says, well, I didn't say we weren't going to rejoin the EU, because he hasn't ruled it out. He hasn't said, we're not going to rejoin our lifeline. Starmer has. He hasn't said there's any red lines. Starmer has. But also if Rachel Reeves gets replaced by Ed Miliband, there's no reason why we can't go further and faster with the Green Revolution and also get us back into the EU. But Brexit, obviously, it makes trade harder. It reduced investment massively by like 90% inward investment coming in from other countries. It shrank opportunities, especially for young people. Older people didn't give a fuck about that because they've lived their lives and just wanted to ruin everything for everyone else. It created trade friction. It weakened growth. It left a bad taste in the people's mouths across Europe. Don't forget, we cost France billions by Brexit, by making them put in photosanitary checkpoints and change the whole way that the border system worked on the northern border of France, with people coming across on the boats, people coming across in the Channel Tunnel. It cost France billions. It cost the French taxpayer billions for us to Brexit. And that has pissed a lot of French people off. Let me tell you. They're like, why you cost us all this money? For what reason have you done this? And now we're like, oh, can we come back a little bit? Can we? So, it's isolated us from our nearest and richest market and our most profitable market, and the market that's on our fucking doorstep. Look up Geographic gravity. Economic gravity, it's called. Economic gravities. Look that up. Domestic focus and European future, and they're not antonyms. They're not opposites. They're not opposites. They're very much connected. And reindustrialization is easier with access to European markets. Regional growth is easier with investment confidence. Green transition is easier with regulatory cooperation. Defense cooperation is easier with European partnership. Young people's futures stronger with mobility. You can't fix Britain while keeping Europe at arm's length. And I'm sick of the Lexiteer lie that we can't nationalise our industries if it's still part of the EU. Absolutely we can. Absolutely we can. As evidenced by the fact that the trains in France and the trains in Spain and the trains in Germany are run as nationalised companies. We can do it. This idea of Britain being something apart from all the other continents. So you've got Antarctica, Oceania, you've got North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, and Britain, and a little bit of Ireland. Okay, Britain's natural place is at the heart of Europe. It always has been, always will be. Look through our history. It's always deeply, deeply, deeply connected with Europe. Go back. What do you want to talk about? Queen Victoria marrying a German? Or maybe we can talk about Queen Elizabeth II marrying a Greek? Maybe we can talk about the Queen Victoria's kids, their grandkids, all having a fucking war against each other, which was World War One. Maybe it's all about getting dragged into World War Two because we were worried about Germany coming in over and making us all speak German or something. Maybe we can go back a bit further, go back to the Napoleonic Wars. We'll be out of it because we're like, well, we're not part of Europe, so what's the point of having a Battle of Waterloo? What's the point of having a Battle of Trafalgar? They're in some foreign places. Sovereignty. We understood the need to actually get involved. Do you want to go back a bit further? We asked the stadtholder of the Netherlands, a stadtholder, not the, of the Netherlands to come over and be our king. We did that. We said, William III, can you come over and be our king, please? Intrinsically linked to Europe. Queen Mary married Prince Philip of fucking Spain, who then came over in an armada because he didn't like who replaced her in the former Queen Elizabeth. Intrinsically linked at the very deepest level to Europe. Have a look at all of Shakespeare's plays. Is there a single play that takes place all in Britain and doesn't refer to Europe at all? I don't think so. Maybe Macbeth? Maybe. I don't know. But Hamlet's set in Denmark. The Gentleman of Verona, I'm pretty sure it's set in Verona. I'm sure the Merchants of Venice is set in Venice. It's a European play. It's about people living in Europe. Othello is not set in Dorset. We've always been European. You want to go back further than that? Okay, well, let's go back to Richard Lionheart. He didn't speak a fucking word of English. He only spoke French. I think the only English words he knew were swear words. And then go back to William the Conqueror, 1066 and all that jazz. Okay, well, who did he take out? Harold Hardrada also turned up. King Harold I of Britain. He was taken out. And where were they from? Oh, they were from Denmark. Where was William from? Oh, he was the Norman, the Northmen of the Vikings of France. Okay, you want to go back further? Okay, the fucking Vikings. You want to go further back? The fucking Romans. The Romans from bloody Norfolk? No, they fucking weren't. They were from fucking Italy. Jesus Christ. It goes on and on and on back through time to the Picts, to the Angles, to the Saxons, to the Beaker people. The history of Britain, the story of Britain, the narrative of Britain, the fabric of our society is so indelibly linked to the continent in which we live. And it's so frustrating that people don't see that and think that, we should stand on our own 2 feet. Well, news for you. We haven't been able to stand on our own 2 feet in terms of food security for over for nearly 200 years. 200 years! We've had to import food because there's not enough farmland in this country, or not enough farmland that is used in a way that actually grows enough food for the people who live in this country. Why do you think they had to have flotillas of ships coming over during World War II with food in it? Why couldn't we grow our own food? Because there just wasn't enough food for the number of people living in the country. And there hasn't been for centuries now. Centuries. Andrew Ray, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. You're always a ray of sunshine. See what I did there? Oi, hawthorns provide the first nectar and pollen for bees coming out of winter. Take that back, save the bees. EU banned pest and herbicides now being used by Brexit farmers. I lost 7 hives, 25 to 26. I'm really sorry, man. I'm really sorry that you lost those hives. Take that back. I don't understand why. Well, take that back. Save the bees. Did I say something? I feel like I've offended Andrew Ray here, and I'm completely lost. I'm sorry for being thick and not understanding this, but I'm completely lost what I said. Did I ever go at the bees? Did I? I might have had a go at the A's and the C's, but I never have a go at the bees. I love the bees. They're cute. Bumblebees. Anyway, so moving on. My point is that we have always been part of Europe. We've always been an important part of Europe. Not because Europe is perfect, not because Brussels is flawless, not because, the EU it should be treated like a religion. I don't think it should, but because geography matters, economics matters, history matters, security matters, culture matters, shared democratic values matter. Our biggest market is on the doorstep. Our security is tied to Europe. Our climate policy is tied to Europe. Our food standards are tied to Europe. Our universities, science, travel, art, manufacturing, farming, music, energy, defense, it's all connected to fucking Europe. And Britain tried to turn Brexit tried to turn this geography around and say, no, we're separate. And it's absolutely demonstrably failed. You cannot relocate Britain into the middle of the Pacific by putting a Union Jack halfway up a fucking lamppost. Wheels, Darren, and all that farmland is going as waste as golf courses. Yeah, 2% of our land is golf courses, but also grouse hunting lands for people who want to hunt grouse. Anyway, I promised Boba Fetty, and I am a man of my word, or a person of my word. So here we go. We're going to get some Boba Fetty coming to you right now. Boba Fetty! Yeah, I'm Boba Fett. I'm Boba Fett with me, Boba Fetty. Yeah. I'm Boba Fett with my Boba Fetty. With my SETI and my Boba Fetty. So thanks very much for that, for everyone who's chimed in, dropped a super chat in. Very kind of you. So yeah, just quickly before I wrap up, this is what I think Labour should say. Labour should stop pretending there is a magical bespoke arrangement that solves everything. It should say Brexit created barriers, we're going to remove them. British businesses should not be punished by the people who don't even fucking work, like Nigel Farage, the feckless, lazy neo-aristocratic elite. They shouldn't be punished for wanting to trade with our nearest neighbours. Young people should have the right to experience Europe in the same way that I did when I was young. Food exporters, farmers, manufacturers need stable rules and open markets. Britain is stronger when it works with Europe, not when it sulks around the edge. And we need to rebuild trust step by step. The direction is clear. Closer, deeper, more honest cooperation with Europe. This is not about rerunning 2016. This is about dealing with where we are now in 2026. And the whole don't mention Europe, I understand now, at the moment when this by-election is going on, I understand why Andy Burnham's doing it, right? I do. But generally speaking, up to this point, until very recently, Labour has been not mentioning Europe. And I think that was the right thing to do in the run-up to the 2024 election. It's not 2024 anymore, right? Going forward, not mentioning Europe, I think, is a fatal mistake. Labour thinks that avoiding this whole Europe argument neutralises reform. It doesn't. It does the opposite. It allows Farage to define the terrain. And that is really fucking dangerous, because that guy is a disgusting, horrific, bog-faced fucking populist scumbag, a foghorn of ignorance, an absolute shit-piss bastard who wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire. And this is a guy who he wants Brexit myths to survive. He wants to pretend that it would have been wonderful had it not been for XYZ, and it allows Reform to pretend that Brexit was betrayed rather than exposing Brexit for the lie that it always was, the original lie, the original sin that is Brexit. It allows the same people who caused the damage to pose as the solution. And Farage should be forced to defend the problems that Brexit has created every single day. Where's the money? Where's the trade boom? Where's the lower migration? Where's the sovereignty? Where's the prosperity? Where's the control? He sold Britain a dodgy timeshare in the middle of the sea and then ran off before the roof fucking fell in. And Labour should not be frightened of making this argument. It should absolutely relish it, because it is the big argument that sets it out from refuck. And they need to expose the lies at the heart of refuck, because everything refuck says is a fucking lie. They couldn't lie straight in bed. And half in, half out in the EU is doomed in the long term because it's built on denial. It denies that the single market has rules. It denies that the EU has any interests of its own. It denies that Brexit failed. And it denies that Britain needs Europe. And it denies that leadership can change its mind. And I've said this before, but I don't mind if the leadership changes their mind for something that we need them to change their mind again about. If the leadership of Labour now change their mind on trans rights and start bringing in trans rights and protections for trans people and start treating trans people with dignity, I'm not going to go, oh, fucking U-turn, how dare you? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to applaud it. I'm going to be like, yes, thank you, twats. Bit late, but yeah, better late than never. And look, the answer isn't for us to scream rejoin tomorrow and expect everyone to fall in line. The answer is to lead, make the case, explain the damage, show the benefits, rebuild trust, restore rights for young people, reopen doors, and slowly, deliberately, confidently steer Britain back to where we have always belonged, at the heart of Europe. That's my TED Talk. Thank you for attending. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I've done TED Talks. Did you know I've done TED Talks? Did I mention that? I've done 7 of them. 7 TED Talks. 7. Did one in California. Proper fucking TED. Not a TEDx, mate. Not a TEDx. Proper fucking TED Talk. Got a standing ovation, back in another life. FT weekend, bonds rally on Burnham fiscal vow. So that's good. The bonds are back. The bonds are back in town. Vicious cycle. Europe braced for heat waves because of climate change, because of the filthy fuel companies. Brewdog's what ferments second best beer to ease pain of equity punks. So this idea that anyone who invested in Brewdog back in the day put a couple of grand into Brewdog back in 2011. He's starting a new company that's going to help them out or something. But the guy's a bit of a twat. So I you know, if he kind of tries to redeem his image, then fair enough. But if he doesn't, people are going to be like, yeah. New you were wrong and all the time. Fears rise over children's homes investment spree. We've got the reinvention of Mel C. She's now called Melanie. And then we've got Jamie Carragher. Tuchel's so right to ignore reputations. This is to do with the round ball tournament that's coming along in Canada, America, and Mexico, although no one's going to any of the American games by the looks of things. Another lie from the Daily Telegraph there on the front page. They lie every day. They lie like they breathe. £300 tax on your summer staycation. Mayors seize on new powers to charge overnight visitors hundreds for holidays. It's a couple of quid. I mean, feasibly, they could charge loads more, but they're not going to. It's a couple of quid. Unless, you know, this is someone who's staying in a fucking manor house and taking over the whole manor house for the weekend. We'll have to pay an extra 100 quid. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for most of us staying in a fucking travel lodge, it's going to make no fucking difference at all. It's got like a quid on top of everything else. Felicity Kendall, political correctness fuels anti-Semitism. That's absolute bollocks, Felicity. Political correctness fuels No, it doesn't. In fact, being anti-Semitic is not politically correct. And it's an opposite. Dickhead. Burnham has suggested political correctness. Sorry. Burnham eyes cash raid on middle classes. Some more lies from the Telegraph. It's just every story here is just bullshit. Rain and you of fraud claims last month. They had a story about trying to drag Angela Rayner into some corruption that's happened in Tameside Council, which has nothing to do with her, but they're trying to drag her name into it because her constituency is within that area. Students needn't open a book to get a degree. Maldives divers took wrong turn. Oh, that's a true story. So that's about these divers who died, 5 divers who died in the Maldives. Tragedy. Morrison's blames Labour for closures. Of course they do. Daily Fail. Burnham plots new tax raid on Middle England. No, he doesn't. He plans a tax raid on the fucking super wealthy, which is not Middle England. Fuck off. I love my husband, but I want to kill him too. That's from Jasmine Le Bon, who I guess is married to Simon Le Bon, I suppose. I don't know. George Michael changed my life. That's from Satnan Sanghera, who wrote Empire Land, which is over there, and Empire World. 2 fantastic books that I really, really do recommend if you want to understand. If you do want to understand what's going down, why the empire affects everything that we say and do in this country. Rewired for economic ruin. Milburn warns of economic catastrophe unless anxious smartphone generation is helped into work. All right. And then we've got visitors to Petersfield Lido in Hampshire. Oh, it must be nice to have Lidos. We don't have things like that in the north. We don't even have fucking a proper pub around here. Just got a flat roof fucking piece of shit. We're not allowed pubs. We're not allowed cafes. We're not allowed nice things like, you know, public baths. All we've got is fucking barbed wire and custard. Daily Mirror here. Suitcase full of the happiest memories. Judith Chalmers has popped her clogs. Tuchel evokes Ramsey spirit. The boys of 26. Boss puts team ethos first. The squad names. Some certain big names have been left out of the squad, and it's because they probably don't work as good team players. Wish she was still here. Judith Chalmers dying again. We've got UK heatwave set to break spring record, leaving Africa and Med in the shade. Like they report that like it's a good thing. It's a very, very bad thing. Very, very bad thing. UK seeking single market for goods, but EU says no, which is the main topic I was talking about today. Health alert issued over bank holiday heatwave. Primary schools face major cut in PE funding. People need to explain why they did not act about rape gangs, who the Keir staff who face a criminal probe, which is fair enough. Like, yeah, put resources into investigating this stuff so it doesn't happen again. Absolutely agree with that. What I don't agree with is demonizing a section of society and saying they were all this particular section of society, when actually, if you drill down into the statistics, white people are more likely to actually cause sexual assault than any other ethnic group. proportionately. Chris, there will be a connection there somewhere. I know that it is. Bob White and custard. You never had it so good. I know, Gallifreyan man. What do we like? Anyway, it is 10:45. I like my new clock. I get to see what the time it is without really having to look. I used to have to sort of look down at me, the very little, because I've got quite small font on my computer. Very, very little 10:45 in the bottom right corner of my computer. Don't have to do that anymore. Just go 10:45. Just look at my clock. Although it is a bit weird because when I look at my clock, I'm looking towards the chat. Because I've got it set up so it looks like when I'm reading the chat, it looks like I'm looking at the chat. Well, I am, but like it looks like but now I'm looking at the clock, but it looks like I'm looking away from the clock. Anyway, it's confusing. Anyway, Chris, there are plenty. Start with Sex Matters. Sex Matters are the most disgusting group in this country. And if you look at anything about trans rights or trans liberation or anything like that, one of the first things that come up on Google is an article by Sex Matters saying that trans people don't deserve anything, which is bloody disgraceful. Brexit is all about picking teams, says Samuso, joining some cult where facts don't matter. I know most of them know the damage they've done to themselves and loved ones, but it's all blue team versus the red team. Yeah. Gallifreyan man, that sounds like a very helpful relationship, a very healthy relationship. What? Chris FS for FWS is linked to Sex Matters. Oh, 4 Women Scotland. Yeah, the 4 women from Scotland. Well, they say they're women. And they discovered money links to nationalists. I read it yesterday. How do we know those 4 women aren't cisgender men in wigs? I'm just saying. I've listened to Too Much Goon Show. Every time I see the line, we've never had it so good, I hear it in Harry Seacombe's voice. Sometimes it's like watching a wasp land on a stinging nettle. Someone's going to get stung and you don't care. Yes. Indeed. I was like, I once watched a tarantula in Panama carrying a wasp carrying a tarantula up the wall a parasitic wasp had found this tarantula. It had it was only a small tarantula, it wasn't like a big one size of my hand, but it had paralyzed it with its sting, right? But it's still alive, and then it was dragging it up the wall to take it to its nest, and there in its nest it would inject the eggs from the parasitic wasp into the abdomen of the spider, which would then grow inside the spider while the spider was still alive, and then burst out of the spider while the spider's still alive and eat the spider while it's still alive. And I'm watching this parasitic wasp carrying this spider up the wall, and I'm just like, yeah, someone. I don't care. I just like watched it going, yeah, nature, red in tooth and claw. I don't like spiders. I don't like wasps. Whoever wins, we lose. Parasitic wasps are fucking gnarly. I've got footage of it somewhere. I'll try and dig it out. I've actually got footage of it being pulled up the wall. Send that off to David Attenborough. Anyway, my friends, my loved ones, my dear gang on this side of the internet. Listen, if things go according to plan, we might have some newcomers coming along on Monday's marathon sesh. Hopefully we're going to go into Monday night. We might go into Tuesday as far as I can. If I get the Guinness World Record, it means going on till Wednesday morning. I'm going to try to go till 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning. I don't know if I'll get that far, but if I do, then bonza. But we'll have some new people coming on the show. I'm not going to be talking about politics so much. I'm going to be talking about every country in the world. So the way I've got it planned out, got 48 hours, right? And there's 193 members of the United Nations. So if you divide 193 into 15-minute chunks, that comes to 48 hours and 15 minutes. Perfect. So, but also I'll be talking about Palestine and also the Palestine, Vatican City, Western Sahara, Kosovo and Taiwan, which aren't members of the EU. Obviously, Palestine and Vatican City have special observer status, but they can't vote on resolutions. And then I'll probably talk about England, Scotland, and Wales as for different countries. So it will actually be 201 countries that I'll be talking about. Each one will get around 15 minutes each. And you know what I'm like, I'll probably wang on about Azerbaijan far too long. But I'll try and get through it all. So we'll be going through this book, The World. I've also got my plethora of lonely planets behind me, but I'll be going back through this page by page and talking about each country, my experiences in that country, a little bit about it, 15 minutes per place. And I'm going to try not to be too political. Do you see see the world there? It's actually a hologram. You see that? Isn't that cool? Like, when you show, how do you show the world? So if you do that, you see America and South America there. You do that, you see Asia and Australia. You see? And if you do that, it's actually 3. There you go. There's Europe and North Africa. Isn't that boss? The world sort of turns as you turn it. That's really cool, Lonely Planet. But yeah, Traveler's Guide to the Planet from the guy who's been to pretty much every place in here. Obviously, there's a few territories in here that I haven't been to. But it's going to take me 48 hours to go through the whole thing. And just so you know, the rules are I've got to have 2 streams on. I've got to have a clock behind me. I've got to have a TV behind me to show that it's going out live. I'm going to be going out on Twitch as well. You don't have to watch on Twitch, but it's just so I can prove that, there's 2 different angles. I'll be using my other camera, my little camcorder here to film from on my laptop. So I'm going to have a different setup, and that's going to be running as well at the same time. I might also set up a phone so that I'm going out on my phone as well, maybe on TikTok. So I'm going out on 3 different platforms. What I am going to have to do, right, which is a bit annoying, but every 12 hours, I've got to stop the stream and start it again. But it will continue on Twitch. It will continue on TikTok, because I'm not asked about those ones. It's just this is the one. This is the YouTube. Now, as far as mods are concerned, do not feel like you've got to watch the whole thing and mod the whole thing. You don't have to. But also, if you do get some new people coming in and watching it, if you get some people coming from the we'll probably only get a handful, but if you get a few people, a few newbies, I want everyone here, all our gang, to be as welcoming as humanly possible, okay? And try and leave politics out of it. Don't start fights with new people, unless they come in and start being racist or homophobic or transphobic or something. Then they can fuck off. But let's just try and keep it bobbing along and being generally nice, okay? Because I want to get more people to watch these shows. So, I do these shows every single day. It's a lot of, dedication. It's a lot of time put into these things. And, I want them to be able to, I want to be able to pay me way, so don't stay up for the lot. I'm an angry pagan. Just if you can drop in and out, and don't forget I can mod while I'm doing it. And to be honest with you, it might give me something to do. I'm not going to run out of things to say. I'm pretty sure, as I go through every country in the world in alphabetical order and talk about, why it is the way it is and my experiences there. 15 minutes per country. I don't think it's going to be long enough, but I'll try and make it so I've got a funny anecdote about every country in the world, because I think that would be quite fun. I don't know if I'll be able to. I think there's probably 20 countries that I don't have much to say about, like Burundi. I don't have much to say about Burundi. But I just stepped in, went, okay, I'm in Burundi, and then turned around and went back into Rwanda. But yeah, I'm most places I'll have a thing or two to say, I think. But yeah, it's really important that we try and I know this used to be called Politics Social, but I try and not get too political about it. So it's all going to be like my experiences and not delve into the politics of it all so much. So I'm not going to go off. I'm going to try not to go off on one about the British Empire and slavery. Okay. So yes, just got out of the shower. When does the live stream start? Says Tommy. It started at 9:10 and it's going to finish now, an hour and 44 minutes later. So thank you so much for watching. You've been bloody incredible. And like I say, we should rejoin the EU as soon as bloody possible. Before we go, just for you, for staying till the end, do you know what you get? You get confetti. Yes, you do. Oh, no, it didn't come on. Trying to be cool there. You get confetti. It didn't come on again. Press them. Yeah, there you go. It worked. Bedtime lucky. Anyway, so there you go. Woo, woo. Confetti time. Yeah. Okay, so Probably not going to do a show today because I'm getting set up for this Guinness World Record attempt. That's why I didn't do a show last night. Sorry. I'll be back tomorrow morning for the Sunday sermon at 11 o'clock. And then Sunday night social's going to go ahead as usual tomorrow. A slightly different setup behind me, probably. And until then, I say thank you so much for watching here on the Hughes the World channel. We're going to try and take it to the next level this week. Try and get some new people in to join our gang in the morning, to come along and listen to me wibble on about what's going on in the world and say hello to everyone in the chat and be nice. Get some more nice people. Can we get some more nice people? We'll put out the net, pull in some nice people, okay? Some more nice people. So have a great weekend. Have a great day. I hope you don't get, if you got out in the sun and you're like me and you don't have any melanin, just put a bit of sun cream on or wear a big fucking hat. Enjoy your weekend and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. And until then, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome and goodbye. Give us a like.